Good evening, everyone. I welcome everyone to the second study circle meeting for the year 2021. Uh, Endeavor of the association is to keep educating members, uh, not only in GST but also in various other avenues. All of you must be aware we've uh, conducted a workshop in Customs Act. One was conducted under Excel. Broadening our horizon, we are here to conduct a study circle meeting on MSME. Uh, there was one survey from the government which said that uh, only 23% of the MSME dealers are aware of what MSME is, and out of that, not hardly half of them were aware that what benefits the government have passed on during the last 2 years to the MSME sector. So this was very important for us to organize a lecture on MSME, and moreover, this is a new field for us professionals as well, because there are some few registrations also which can be done. So now that GST is more or less stabilized in terms of compliances. Of course, it will never get stabilized as a law, but in terms of compliances, it is stabilized. So we professionals have an opportunity to widen our horizon, widen our practice, and create one more wing out of our existing clients. So this is the intention behind conducting today's study circle meeting, and we were frankly looking for a person who would be speaking on this, and we were clueless on who would speak. And then one fine day, just I found Hiral on my phone list, and I thought that let us tell him, give him this task, because he was also not fully prepared. So, especially for today's event, he prepared himself. He learned all the latest updates on the MSME law and other procedures, and he is with us. So, special thanks to Hiral for taking efforts for our members. And of course, our my office bearers are here, conveners of L&R committees here, and today's technical support will be given by convener of IT committee Sejal. She's also available with us. So now, without wasting much time, I request joint convener of L&R committee, Parth Vadeka, to formally introduce CA Hiral Shah, today's speaker.
Good evening, one and all. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, CA Hiral Shah. CA Hiral Shah has been a practicing chartered accountant since 2006. He has also completed his MCom and LLB from Mumbai University. He has completed his DISA and a certificate course in arbitration and conciliation, as well as concurrent audit of banks from Institute of Accountants of Chartered Accountants of India. He is involved in consultancy and compliance matters of all indirect tax laws and income tax matters. He has performed statutory audit, concurrent audit, tax audit, etc. for several banks and companies. He is a member of Digital Accounting Assurance Board of WIRC, of Institute of Chartered Accountant ICAI. He is a member of Managing Committee of JCAF. He is a member of Membership Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultants. He is a permanent invitee to Managing Committee of GSTPAM. He has authored the publication on impact of GST laws on cooperative housing societies, published by the GSTPAM. He's been a regular contributor to study material on VAT, GST laws in the Maharashtra, in Maharashtra for beginners and reference books which have been published by GSTPM. And he has also co-authored publication on charitable trust, which has been published by GCAF. He has been a regular faculty at various professional and social associations like study circles of ICAI, Rotary Club, etc. With that, I warmly welcome CA Hiral Shah, and I ask him to please take over the session and educate us all about the MSME procedures.
Uh, before just Hiral takes over, I just want to inform all the members that those who have still not renewed their membership, are requested to renew their membership at the earliest, because we have a one-time incentive scheme going on where the members who would renew their membership before 15th of September would get access to the GST Taxman GST website for 1 month. That would be absolutely free. So I request everyone to take benefit of the same. Thank you. Now I hand over charge to Hiral.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, President, sir. Thank you, Parth, for the kind words. And I warmly thank the Vice President, C. Alok Mehta, Honorary Joint Secretary Praveen Shinde, and the entire committee. Thank you, Sejo Madam, for the technical support. Uh, the topic allotted in a study circle, what we have seen for all the years together, that we always, sorry, just a second. We have always seen in various programs that, okay, we are learning, as the president said, uh, GST is a topic which all of us have been learning for all these years, still learning. I think it is a never ending process on our part to learn GST. However, the topic of MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, gained some importance over the last few weeks, wherein we had seen that there were when the Google count was seen for maximum searches post the 12th May Atmanirbhar Bharat speech by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, 13th May Finance Minister's speech by our Nirmala Sitharaman. There were maximum searches for MSME. People started searching, "Arey, kya hai ye MSME? What is MSME?" After hand sanitizers and masks, MSME was the most searched option on Google as well. After 13th of May, people started realizing that, okay, there is something that needs to be learned about. There were maximum phone calls after the announcement, the finance minister's announcement. It was like an earthquake. Professionals were started. Professionals started receiving calls. कि अरे sir, ये MSME क्या है? Chartered accountants, advocates, us tax professionals, all of us started receiving calls from our clients stating, asking, "Arey MSME क्या है? What is MSME? What do we do about MSME?" Prime Minister, Finance Minister, everybody is saying that there are so many different schemes for MSME. हमको भी MSME बनना है. We also want ourselves to be registered. What are the benefits? So there are n number of benefits. If I start jotting them down, not only from the MSME sector, whatever is declared by the MSME ministry. Apart from that, different other ministries also have many schemes for MSMEs. What does MSME stand for? Micro, small, medium enterprises. Government wants to incentivize these people, benefit the smaller people, so that the smaller base grows. Not only the large corporates, but the entire small belt also grows along with it. It used to happen before, say we are talking about pre 12th May or pre the COVID era, pre lockdown era. People would say, "I want the registration for Udyog Aadhaar. I want to be registered under MSME." And many of us consultants used to say, "We don't know this. We don't know how to register. You please get it registered by the person who has told you to get the MSME registration." This was always the case. What used to happen then? The Mr. X is my client for GST filing, GST compliances, GST advisory. However, the person goes to some Mr. Y who says ki, okay, I'll get the MSME registration done for you. I'll get the Udyog Aadhaar, which was the name which was given to the MSME registration a few years back, few months back, I would say. So the client who has come to us, he will start comparing with the other professional as well. He is getting the registration done. Why are you not able to get the registration done? So that was creating a different opinion for us in the mind of our clients. Therefore, the importance of this lecture at this juncture becomes imperative. Now, let's start with, okay, we'll go to the pre Atmanirbhar declaration, that is pre 12th May uh, work as well. But first, let's go with the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which was declared by the Honorable Prime Minister, taken further by the Finance Minister, and different schemes by the Ministry of Medium and Small Enterprises. They said that 3 lakh crore collateral free automatic loan for businesses, including MSMEs, would be provided. Okay, how does it work? We will look at it later. These were the benefits which were given. We will look at each of the benefits and work on it. Why is it necessary to advise our clients? Not only advise our clients, or advise the entire business community as such from the MSME angle, registration and the advantages. 20,000 crore subordinate debt for stressed MSMEs. We will look at that as well. 50,000 crore equity infusion for MSMEs through fund of funds. The change in the definition of MSMEs. We will look at the earlier definition. We will look at the new definition as well. The global tenders were disallowed for up to rupees 200 crores in government procurement. So the smaller tenders to be with Indian companies only. So that is another incentive which is available. Other interventions for MSMEs. MSME receivable from government and public sector, central public sector enterprises within 45 days. We will look at that. What does MSME refer to? MSME refers to micro, small and medium enterprises. As I said, it has emerged as a dynamic sector for Indian economy over the last 5 decades. So Indians have always been entrepreneurs from the smaller and from the smallest of the person. If a person is qualified to do a certain act, Indian mentality in many cases would be खुद का धंधा करते हैं दूसरे की नौकरी करने से अच्छा. That has always been the mindset of us Indians. So that has always been the backbone of our economy. The national economy structure is such that there are more than 63.5 million units throughout the country. Smaller enterprises. There are so many enterprises. Many of them are registered, many of them are not. To get everybody registered by explaining them the advantages, that is a proactive thing that we professionals have to look at, and that is a very important role which we professionals can play. It is just in the development. See, we are said that tax professionals have always been there for the development of the entire economy. So here what we see is that we have to play a very important role. How do we play an important role in this? By educating them educating the smaller entrepreneurs to get them grow. If the enterprises grow, there will be the growth of the entire economy, plus the proactive approach that we explain to our clients that would help them to grow. In terms we grow as well. It should not be something like a post-mortem analysis. Those days were there wherein we professionals were always said, "Arey, audit is to be done, okay, that's a post-mortem analysis. Some compliances have to be done, those are post-mortem analysis." However, advisory was the only portion which was not post-mortem, which was actually on the field. Before deciding on anything, advice is taken that helps the sector to grow. So MSME plays a very important role in terms of large scale employment. More and more employment is there in the MSME sector, especially in rural areas. See, it is said, when generally we are talking, this MSME is something which is there for the urban areas. Rural areas don't have anything to do with it. We professionals, we start thinking, कि नहीं, the professionals who are sitting in Mumbai or Delhi, only those are the ones who have to look at the MSME sector. They would only have the respective clients. No, it is, or it is more so in the rural areas where the size of the enterprise is small. They can take the advantage. Everybody can take the advantage and go further, provide maximum employment. It is said that MSME is the important pillar of Indian economy. Why? Because it contributes 6.11 percent of the manufacturing GDP. Service GDP is 24.63%. With the MSME sector itself, you and me, most of us fall into the MSME category. The manufacturing output, 33.4% of the manufacturing output comes from the MSME sector only. Overall exports, 47 to 48% of the overall exports is from the MSME sector only. So that is something which is absolutely worth it going ahead. Sorry. See here. If we say when people try to say that MSME is a topic which only consultants, professionals are supposed to look from the urban side. Okay, only consultants from Mumbai or Pune would be more interested in understanding what the MSME sector is. So that is a myth. How do we break that myth? That myth comes from here. If we see the estimated number of MSMEs in lakhs, if we say 324.88 lakhs are from the rural sector. So the rural part takes the major chunk as compared to the urban part, wherein there are 309 MSMEs, 309 lakh MSMEs. So it is just an estimated figure, but this estimate also is very important when we look at things. The difference between the rural and the urban area, here is what the difference stands at. Now, from the website of the Development Commissioner of MSME, see there are different wings in the MSME ministry itself. So the development ministry, the development commissioner, from their website, I pulled up that data from this website, which says that Maharashtra has 7.64% of total registered MSMEs. If we take the total as 100 in the country, Maharashtra accounts for 7.64% only. I would add the word only, because whereas Uttar Pradesh, which is a state, which is a big state, that is fine. However, Maharashtra is the most industrial state, one of the most industrial states, and it just comprises almost less than quarter to 8%. So that is very less. So there we look at things that there is a very huge potential in Maharashtra for registration. Another where President Sir said that potential and role of professionals. Here is where role of professionals come into picture, wherein we advise people get yourself registered under MSME. But the next question which comes to them is, why do I get myself registered? I'm doing my business, I'm doing it perfectly fine for years together. Why do I need to get one more registration? So that the answer for that is there are huge advantages which we will discuss. Definitely looking at those advantages, anybody would say, sir, first get me registered under MSME, other things we will do later. मेरे को 2 दिन की पेनल्टी चलेगी जीएसटी की, आप एमएसएमई में मेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन करवा के दो. All these things well said and done. Still, MSME sector has, a, though it plays a very significant role in the Indian economy, there are a number of problems that it faces. Lack of infrastructure. Person says, say in the city of Mumbai or in the city of Pune, somebody says, "Ki, I want to start my enterprise." Infrastructure. Where do I get that infrastructure from? Huge infrastructure. Okay, Mumbai and Pune, if you spend you spend the money, you will get the infrastructure. What about other areas? The smaller areas, the tier 2, tier 3 cities, it becomes very difficult. So lack of infrastructure is a major hitch, a major problem with the MSME sector. Inadequate market linkages. I don't have access to the market. The bigger players, say Big Basket, Reliance, these people have market linkages directly from the farmer, it reaches to your home, and many such schemes are there. Such infrastructure and such market linkages are not available to the MSME sector. However, therefore, the advantages are given to the MSME sector for them to grow as well. Inadequate finance, that will be taken care very well after 1st July, and in fact not after 1st July, immediately after the announcement by the Honorable Prime Minister, by the Honorable Finance Minister, the MSME Minister. It is, finance is flowing seamlessly, and not only from here, it used to be there, always be there. There are hardly any changes. It is just that myth is broken. How do we get more and more advantages about for the MSME sector? That myth is broken by the Honorable Prime Minister, Finance Minister, etc. Lack of managerial competence, yes, for smaller enterprises. The you call him the manager, you call him the production manager, you call him this, you call him that, but that managerial competence is comparatively quite low always. Obsolete technology, people say we are using technology, however it is not up to the mark. Okay, yes, obsolete technology is there, therefore the financing, the funding is given. There are different other advantages of international fairs and everything also provided by the government, so that this obsolete technology also is taken care of. Low production capacity, yes, the production capacity might be low, however the inflow and outflow are the same, so it helps out. Government implemented, it is nothing that the MSME is a concept which has come in 2020. The MSME Development Act was there in 2006. It is implemented from 2006. However, there were certain glitches which were not addressed to for many years. Now the act and the things have been strengthened so that more and more people are inclined towards getting themselves registered. It is just something like the Aadhaar. The Aadhaar for individuals, government is having a central database. Government is trying to compile everything at a single place and then go ahead. Similarly, you can count this MSME registration also on a very similar footing. It is an act which provides for the facilitation, the promotion, the development, and enhancing the competitiveness of micro, small, and medium enterprises, and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. So, this is the motto of the MSME Act as such. Now, when we talk about the MSME Act, here we professionals are so much thorough with the GST Act, the day in day out notifications, day in day out circulars. Now we are very much settled with it. Circular to aana hi hai. So on the other hand, here we are speaking about the act, which is a very small act. The act is available in the handout section for all to download. It is, I would suggest everybody to download the handouts from the handout section. So that will be very useful. The act, the entire act has been put over there. It's a very small act, 6 chapters, 32 sections, that's it. Not something very huge, very elaborate, very great. When we compare the MSME Development Act to our GST Act or Income Tax Act, this is a small, very small piece of legislation. So the chapter is divided into preliminary. It contains of section 1 and section 2. Section 1 is just explaining the motto and stuff. Section 2 comprises of definitions. As in every act, section 2 is for the definitions. So just 2 sections in chapter 1. Chapter 2, it comprises of section 3 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 4 sections, wherein National Board of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, it is the composition of the board, the working has been classified over there. Then the most important part, chapter 3, classification of enterprises, advisory committee and memorandum of micro, small and medium enterprises, section 7 and section 8. For the day-to-day operations, section 7 is very important, wherein it says the classification of the various entities, whether they are micro, small, medium, or don't fall into this, so fall into the large category. So that classification is chapter 3, section 7 and section 8. Chapter 4, measures for promotion, development and enhancement of competitiveness of micro, small and medium enterprises. Section 9 to section 14. So what are the different measures taken by the government, by the different boards which are created to help promote, develop the competitiveness of MSMEs as compared to the large organizations? How both can be done? That those measures are enumerated in chapter 4, which is section 9 to 14. Then chapter 5, delayed payments to micro and small enterprises. It is worded as micro and small enterprises. However, it is the correct thing is delayed payments to MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises, both, all the three put together. Section 15 to section 25. The delayed payments is the most effective part of the act, wherein the payments which are to be made to different enterprises are taken care of within the fold itself. So section 15 to 25 enumerate each and every step which are to be taken. And then chapter 6 miscellaneous comprises of section 26 to section 32. 32 sections, 6 chapters, of few notifications, very few notifications, and you are a couple of office memorandums, and you are through for the MSME Development Act 2006. Now, the ministry of MSME earlier, what used to be there is that there were different ministries. That is, Ministry of Agro and Rural Industries, Ministry of Small Scale Industries. Those two ministries were there. Both ministries were merged into the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And now it is this Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises which designs the policies and promotes, facilitates the programs, projects, and the schemes, and monitors their proper implementation. See, there was always a problem that policies were designed. It was all the policies were designed to promote, to facilitate different programs, projects, and schemes. However, their monitoring and implementation was something which was always lacking. All these were now are now being taken care of with the view to assist MSMEs and help them to scale up. The basic intention for the entire exercise is the growth of the entities who are falling into the MSME sector as such. See, the primary responsibility, we are working under a federal system. We are working under a federal system wherein certain powers lie with the central government, certain lie with the state government. So here MSME primarily falls into the state subject, wherein it is the primary responsibility of promotion and development of MSMEs of the state government. The respective state government has to look at the development of MSMEs. However, the government of India supplements the effort of each state government through various initiatives. The government of India will formulate schemes, projects, and everything, and facilitate the state government, and in turn the entities, or you say the entities and in turn the state government, whichever way you say, but the development is taken by hand in hand by both of them. So what are the schemes which the central government may provide for? So it provides for adequate flow of credit from financial institutions, which is one of the things which was the highlight. सबके कान खड़े हो गए 12 और 13 मई को सुन के कि अरे इतना क्रेडिट मिलेगा, उनको इतना पैसा मिल सकता है बैंक से. Yes, flow of credit is possible. See, it is flow of credit. When when the declaration came into picture, it is people were taking that view कि यार ये तो scholarship मिल गई, ये तो पैसा मिल गया, donation मिल गया. No, government is not donating anything. It is just ensuring that adequate flow of credit goes on. It provides for support of technology upgradation and modernization. Yes, you have to upgrade your technology, you have to work with the times, so that, and that technical support, technological support is provided by the government. Integrated infrastructural facilities. Yes, infrastructure is developed for MSMEs, and it is being developed by the state government with the help of the central government. Modern testing facilities and quality certification centers which are being made available to MSMEs so that they can grow, and those certification, if a product is certified, then it provides a better understanding, a better reliability, a better goodwill to the user, the end consumer of the products. Access to modern management practices. Yes, those skill development portion is also taken up. Entrepreneurship development and skill upgradation through appropriate training facilities. Appropriate training facilities are provided so that you grow. Product development, product intervention and packaging, welfare of workers, artisans, assistance for better access to domestic and export markets. See, both the markets are looked into it. It is not only that they want the product to be sold in the local markets, it can be exported as well. Cluster-wise measures to promote capacity building and empowerment of units and their collectiveness. So these are the various initiatives of the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises so that it can facilitate the overall development of MSMEs. Now, the Ministry of MSME also contains different wings and divisions. What are the different wings and divisions? The Small and Medium Enterprises Division, the Agro and Rural Industries ARI Division, the Integrated Finance Wing, IF Wing as it is called, the Data Analysis and Technical Coordination Wing, the Development Commissioner. Development Commissioner, I gave you the example of the data analysis which is available on the website of the Development Commissioner. So these are the basic 5 different wings which are available. See, data and information is very imperative in this modern times. Therefore, it is properly thought of that data analysis and technical coordination wing should be strengthened so that we can get good advantage and proper advantage of different things. So most of us would be knowing the MSME minister, the honorable minister is Shri Nitin Gadkari from Maharashtra itself, our own person from Maharashtra, who is heading this, who is working hands in hand with professionals even during the time of lockdown, having n number of meetings, having n number of gatherings, online gatherings, so that MSME development can be done. But our own Vice President, Shri Alok Mehta, he is amongst those interacting with the minister personally. Our association has been interacting with the minister personally for this development. So these are the things. Now, coming to the act as such, small act, less time, it can be covered. Definitions. What are the important definitions? We will, even if the act is small, we will look at the practical things and how is it advantageous to us and our clients. We will look at those things, those aspects. Definition of goods. Goods means every kind of movable property other than actionable claims and money. Okay, fine. Now, important definition, enterprise. When we are talking about MSME, E stands for enterprise. How do we define, how is it defined under section 2 of the MSME Act? Enterprise means any industrial undertaking or a business concern or any other establishment by whatever name called, engaged in the manufacture or production of goods in any manner pertaining to any industry specified in the first schedule to the Industrial Development and Regulation Act 1951, or engaged in or providing or rendering any service or services. So what we understand from this definition is that enterprise covers manufacture and service sector only, not trading. It is very important that the definition of enterprise itself says manufacture and service only. It does not speak about trading. Therefore, we can easily assume that trading is out of it. Participants can post their queries in the question box, and if it is not taken up during the session, it will be answered later on, because most of the queries I feel would be answered here itself during the presentation. Definitions. We talked about goods, we talked about enterprise. Now, reverse working, MSME. We spoke about E. Now let's speak about M, S and M. all the three definitions, micro, small and medium, the definition provided is micro enterprise means an enterprise classified as such under subclause 1 of clause A of subclause 1 of clause B of subsection 1 of section 7. So it directly gave the link from section 2 to section 7. So the definition is there in section 2, but it gives the reference to section 7. So for all these three, we will refer to section 7 and see to it that whether they are classified under which part. So section 7 subsection 1, classification of enterprise. Part A says, in the case of an enterprise engaged in the manufacture or production of goods pertaining to any industry specified in the first schedule of the Industries Development and Regulation Act 1951, or B, in case of enterprises engaged in providing or rendering of services. So section 7 subsection 1 made it clear that it is manufacture or production or it is rendering of services, nothing else. Now let's first look into the definition of it is the composite criteria. Earlier, let's go in the earlier criteria first, so that then we will come back to the current scenario. The composite criteria will come to it later on. The old criteria was that enterprises were divided into two parts: manufacturing enterprise or service enterprise, and the investment that an enterprise has made into the plant and machinery or equipment. That investment criteria only decided whether it is micro, small or medium or none of them, or a large undertaking. So for manufacturing, it used to be the investment 20 lakh, 25 lakhs for micro, 5 crores for small and 10 crores for medium. Manufacturing enterprises were divided this way. And if it was classified as service enterprises, then it was the investment of 10 lakhs for micro, 2 crores investment for small and 5 crores investment for medium. So investment in plant and machinery was the only criteria under the old MSME classification. So if your investment falls into this, then you are classified as an MSME, not otherwise. However, the definition of MSME was changed and a composite criteria was brought into picture. So again, the changes, there were two different changes which created a confusion at times in the minds of the readers or the mind of professionals as well. When Finance Minister on 13th May announced the criteria, okay, for micro and small, it was the same, but for medium, it was announced as 20 crores, which was later on when the MSME Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari, on 1st June gave the declaration. So they gave a different slight change, variation with effect from 1st July 2020. A composite criteria comes into picture. What is the composite criteria? So this screen is the screen which most people would be maximum interested in. How do you classify yourself under micro? If your investment in plant and machinery is less than 1 crore, investment less than 1 crore and turnover less than 5 crores. See, it is and, it is not or. Both the criteria have to be fulfilled, then and then only you would fall into a micro enterprise. Similarly, a small enterprise and a medium enterprise. Here, a simple way to remember is if investment is 1:5 ratio compares the turnover. So 1 crore investment for micro, 5 crores turnover. 10 crores investment for small, 50 crores turnover. 50 crores for medium, 250 crores for turnover. So 1:5 ratio can be kept into mind. However, safety control equipment, safety devices, and such other items have to be excluded while calculating the investment in plant and machinery. So, what has happened over a period of time? In the interim period till the new registration, which is mandatory from for old registered people to migrate into the new, the cutoff date is 31st of March. So in the interim, when people are going to the banks, so banks or other institutions, they are emphasizing that you get the certification that this amount is your investment in plant and machinery and this amount is your turnover from your chartered accountant. So here this exclusion comes into picture that certain items, while certifying also, we have to look at things. Okay, these items are to be excluded and your certification can work accordingly. So the explanation one reads as, for the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that in calculating the investment in plant and machinery, the cost of pollution control, research and development, industrial safety devices, and such other items as may be specified by notification shall be excluded. Okay, so those items are to be excluded. Now, apart from the exclusion, there are certain inclusions that are there. So, as per the Ministry of Small Scale Industries notification dated 5th October 2006, the investment in plant and machinery referred to in respective limits is of the original price, irrespective of whether the plant and machinery are new or second hand, and it shall be taken into account provided that in the case of imported machinery, the following shall be included in calculating the value. Namely, what are to be included? If it is an imported machinery, your inclusions would be import duty, excluding miscellaneous expenses such as transportation from the port of the site of the factory, demurrage paid at the port, etc. So import duty as such, shipping charges, customs clearance charges, and sales tax or VAT. Those are to be included in calculating the value in case of imported machinery. So that has to be noted. So further, there are few exclusions as well. Tools and dies, that exclusion list, the inclusion and exclusion list are also there in the handout, which can be seen. The proper notification has been kept in the handout, wherein it says that equipments like tools and dies, jigs, molds, spare parts, those are not to be added. Installation of plant and machinery, research and development equipments, pollution control equipments, as I said, power generation equipments, bank charges and service charges which are paid to small scale industries corporation or state small industries corporation, those are also to be excluded. Further, investment in land, building, vehicles, furniture fixtures, office equipments, they shall not be considered in determining the threshold limit of plant and machinery or equipment as the case may be. So these things are to be excluded. So here when we are talking about the investment, we have taken investment into consideration, that what is to be included, what is to be excluded. So we are now somewhat clear with respect to the investment. What are the investment limits, and within the limit also what are to be considered and what is not to be considered. So that is one thing which is taken care of. Now coming to the activities, which activities are allowed, which activities are not allowed. So again, there is an office memorandum dated 27th June 2017, which says, which has clarified that certain activities are not to be included in the manufacture or production of goods or providing or rendering of services in accordance to Section 7 of the MSME Act 2006. So now there is a NIC code. We are these days familiar to the NIC code. So NIC codes 02, 03, 45, 46, 47, 97, 98, 99. They are specifically mentioned in table 1 of the office memorandum, which says that these activities are not to be treated for MSME registration. Which are the activities? I'll just brief. Like 02 is forestry and logging, 03 fishing and aquaculture, 45 and 45, 46, 47, very important. Wholesale and retail trade. Wholesale trade 46, retail trade 47. However, there is an exception wherein wholesale trade and retail trade of other than motor vehicles and motorcycles. So wholesale trade is not an activity. Trading is not an activity, whether it is wholesale or retail, for the purpose of MSMED. However, if it is for motor vehicles, motorcycles, then it can be included. Activities of households as employees for domestic personnel, undifferentiated goods and services, providing activities of private household for own use, activities for extraterritorial organization and bodies. Extraterritorial, out of the territory of India, if it is extraterritorial organizations, then that also cannot be covered as activities under MSMED. However, there are certain activities. So they say these activities are not allowed. The NIC codes provided. However, within the NIC codes, there are certain subcategories of items which are again allowed, like 01462, that is production of eggs, operating of poultry hatcheries, seed processing for propagation, other harvest, post-harvest crop activities, cotton ginning, cleaning, baling, support activities for animal production. So these are some of the activities that, even though mentioned in the earlier as not allowed, however, these specific subcategories have been allowed under the Act to be considered as under MSMED. So these certain activities are allowed, certain activities which are not allowed are also stated. Now we are through with activities which are allowed, activities which are not allowed, investment done, investment not done. Now the most crucial part which we need to take into consideration: what are the benefits for MSME registration? What benefits which we would say? Now in the earlier era, that is pre 1st July. So 1st July has always been there for us GST professionals. So here MSME is also taking 1st July into consideration. Maybe the government loves 1st July too much. So people were getting the Udyog Aadhaar registration for legal proof. Like you want to open a bank account for a proprietor, you require the KYC. So they say government ka kuch leke aao, government proof leke aao. So it was a proof of, it served, the certificate served as a proof of legal existence. Any MSME unit that has Udyog Aadhaar earlier and now Udyam registration is treated as a registered business entity in India. If you do not require yourself to be registered under any other act, you can get yourself registered under this, and this document, the certificate, the Udyam registration, would serve as a proof of legal existence and for a registered business entity in India. Now, the crucial parts, the other crucial parts. So the first part, proof of legal existence, that was always done. Udyog Aadhaar registration. in 1,500 rupees. Such advertisements and hoardings we were seeing. That was just one thing. However, there were loopholes in it. Therefore, the new registration process has come, which covers up the loopholes which were left in the earlier arena. Now, credit facility through banks at lower interest rates. The credit support is now available for fund and non-fund based limits. Both, fund and non-fund based. Both are available from banks to MSMEs. Term loans for acquisition of fixed assets like land, building, plant, machinery, other fixed assets towards setting up of new units and for expansion, modernization, diversification in case of existing units. So for new units and for existing units, for both credit facilities are available. May it be term loan or working capital loan in terms of cash credit, overdraft against book debts, bill discounting facilities. So working capital requirement also, non-fund based limits also. What are the non-fund based limits? Your letter of credit LC, which we call as guarantees, foreign bank guarantees, foreign LCs, all these are provided to MSMEs from various banks, and the interest rates and security norms depends upon bank to bank. See, each bank decides what would be the security norms, what would be the interest rate. However, in most of the cases, it is always lower than the others. So MSME get the benefit of lower interest rate with different credit facilities through banks. Collateral free loans, very important step, which is under the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for MSME, which is known as CGTMSE. Sorry, schemes. MSMEs can avail maximum collateral free credit, fund and non-fund based both. Collateral. What happens is when a small MSME goes to the bank, I want certain credit facilities. They say, okay, we will give you credit facilities, get some collateral. घर गिरवी रखो, ये गिरवी रखो, वो गिरवी रखो, तो आपको लोन मिलेगी. Collaterals, कुछ गिरवी रखना. So here for MSMEs under the CGTMS scheme, collateral free loans are provided to MSMEs. So if you are registered under MSME, you need not provide collateral security. It is the government who provides. Government of India has set up this trust wherein the guarantee is provided to the lender. It is known as this member lending institution, MLIs. As of now, there are 144 MLIs. So that is a consortium of different institutions which provide you a loan, collateral free loan through the guarantee of the government of India. There is another credit guarantee scheme. Again, the CGS, it is known as the Central Guarantee Scheme. It seeks to reassure the lender that in the event of the MSME unit which has availed collateral free facilities fails to discharge the liability to the lender, the credit trust would make good the loss incurred by the lender up to maximum 85% of the outstanding amount in default. So the member lending institution, MLIs, which are called, the MLIs would give the loan to MSME, which is guaranteed up to 85% by the central guarantee scheme. The central government itself has guaranteed that. So that is possible. So there are different categories and up to different maximum amounts wherein it can be availed. So then it's priority sector lending. When even if during bank audits, if we have seen, or there is government prescribes there are various sectors wherein the banks or the financial institutions are supposed to provide the lending on priority basis. Priority sector lending is an important role given by the RBI to the banks for providing a specified portion of the bank lending to specific sectors like agriculture and allied industry activities, MSME, poor people for housing, students for education, other low income groups, weaker sections. So all these are falling into priority sector lending. MSME loans also fall into priority sector lending, and priority is given, certain portion of the loan have to be given to these priority sectors for the bank to function. So it is mandatory for bank also to give, to lend to the priority sector lending, and MSME is a part of that priority sector lending. Exemption of interest on overdraft. As a registered MSME, an enterprise can enjoy up to 1% exemption on interest on an overdraft facility. Although this thing can vary from bank to bank, but still it can claim an exemption, certain benefit has been provided. Certain specialized branches for lending to MSMEs are mandated by RBI, wherein in each district there has to be one specialized branch for MSMEs. It is not that that branch will not cater to others, but up to 60% have up to 60% or more of that advances of that branch has to be to MSME only. Marketing support and assistance to MSME. Under this scheme, the Ministry of MSME will reimburse 75% of the one-time registration fees for barcoding. Barcoding is an important aspect, and 75% will be reimbursed by the government to the MSME, and 75% of the annual renewal fees also. The one-time registration charge also 75% government will bear, plus your annual charges also 75% would be borne by the government for the first 3 years. So again, a very important step for marketing. So it is not just loan is being given. As I said, this is another step wherein assistance can be provided to the enterprise and they can progress. Reimbursement of certification fees of for acquiring ISO standards to the extent of 75%, maximum 75,000 rupees, but 75% government will bear. It will reimburse the certification fees for ISO standards. Now, many of our clients are already registered for ISO standards, but this benefit is not known to them. So when we inform them up to 75,000, you can get it back from the government. Benefit, that certain portion of the benefit can be taken by the professional as well. If this knowledge, the benefit was known and it is passed on to the client, the role of the professional starts from there, and it can be of advantageous to both the parties, the client as well as the professional. Subsidy on patent registration, up to 50% of the application fees can be subsidized, avail 50% subsidy. Credit rating support. See, we know there are various credit rating companies, iCrab, CRISIL, many credit rating agencies are there, and certain credit rating is necessary also in many cases. So under this scheme, the rating fee which is payable by the MSE is subsidized for the first year only. Yes, for the first year, and maximum 75% of the fee or 40,000. There are various turnover slabs and stuff, but yes, even credit rating support fees and charges can also be subsidized. concession on electricity bills, preference on government tenders. Government has started various departments that no tender document fees would be there if it is an MSME exemption from earnest money deposit EMD, which is to be given. Then if there will be no global tender by the government, as I said earlier, for up to 200 crores. So it is within the country and MSME can take advantage of that. So that preference in government tenders also is given. Certain things government cannot enforce on the private parties. However, it can enforce it on the government tenders and preference can be given there. Public procurement facility. Government has reserved 25% for the MSME sector in all its purchases, including through government e-marketplace portal. 25% can be saved, is kept aside. We talk about reservation, reservation, reservation. So this is a favorable reservation policies for the MSME, wherein public procurement things, the government requirements through e-marketplace portal, transparent, so MSME can take advantage of that. Now, international push, as I said earlier, it is not only in domestic market, international push is also given. So to encourage the competitiveness, the government reimburses MSME delegates that explore new areas of MSMEs in other countries. Similarly, Indian MSMEs that participate in international exhibitions, trade fairs, conferences, and other seminars are also reimbursed. The programs are organized by the government for international cooperation in trade related aspects. The government also grants exemptions and concessions for MSMEs that export goods. So we have so many international push measures also taken by the government, which will help not only in domestic competence, but in international competence as well. Now, uh, when the chapter 5 of the MSME Act talks about delayed payments, so that is the biggest advantage that the registered MSMEs have. Section 15 of the Act clearly states that the payments made to suppliers shall be made as per the agreement between the parties. If it is the due date is specified, then it goes as per the agreement. If no due date is specified in the agreement between the parties, the maximum period that is allowed under the Act is a period of 45 days from the delivery of goods or services. From the date of delivery of goods or services, take this into consideration. Not from the date of invoice, it is from the date of delivery. 45 days is the blanket thing given. If not 45 days, then as per the agreement which is there between the parties. Then section 16 says that in case the payment is not made within that period, then compounded interest with monthly rest shall be additionally payable. The interest, what would be the interest rate? Interest rate has been linked with 3 times of the bank rate notified by the RBI. RBI notifies the different bank rate. So here it is 3 times of that, which will be the interest which would be payable if the payment is not made in time to the MSME. That is something which is very important. Then again, section 20, it takes care about providing of facilitation centers. Okay, the payment is not received. Then what is to be done? Different facilitation centers, facilitation councils are to be created by the respective state governments, which would be incentivized by the central government also. A separate portal of MSME Samadhan, the delayed payment monitoring system, has also been put into place so that the MSME is protected against delayed payments. MSME Samadhan, important thing to be noted. Then interest subvention. In many cases, interest subvention would also be provided to the various entities, wherein 2% in interest subvention for loan up to 100 lakh, that is 1 crore rupees, for financial year 18-19 and 19-20 can be provided. Now, trade receivable e-discounting system, TREDS. It is a very important tool now integrated with your Udyam registration, the MSME registration, wherein the bill discounting facility, which was always there, bill discounting which we used to have, that bill discounting things can be taken care of, which is a complete online platform, which is that invoice discounting. There are three participants: the MSME supplier, the corporate buyer, and the financer. So the invoice, how does it work? Like, the invoice is uploaded by either buyer or supplier, depending on the method of discounting, and is approved by the other party. Once, so the MSME seller uploads it, the buyer says, okay, yes, we have bought this goods. Once the invoice is approved by the financer, on the platform, start to bid on the invoice. So bill discounting happens seamlessly well, absolutely seamlessly well. E-government marketplace. So your trade receivables and e-government e-marketplace. These two things are added columns in the MSME registration, that is the Udyam registration. These are included, wherein you have to say that whether you are interested in taking up the thing, whether you are interested in getting yourself registered or not. Both these registrations are absolutely free. It is just a tick and you get registered, you get yourself registered. What is government e-marketplace? We know what is the e-marketplace, your Amazon, basically, apni dukan. So similarly, this is a government e-marketplace, wherein the e-tenders, the entire e-commerce platform, it is an online portal of the government officials and agencies to buy and procure products and services from end-to-end online marketplace. So earlier, there were those various layers which were there. Those have been done away with. Government wants to buy something. Say you want to buy something, you go on to Amazon, you go on to Flipkart and buy something. So here, the government e-marketplace, GEM, which is how it is known as, in GEM, certain government office, they require something, they would check who is supplying and have to buy it from there. It is basically a Flipkart or Amazon, but for the government and by the government. You are the seller. As MSME, you can sell your goods or services over there. So it was initially set up to help all central and state government officials who are looking to purchase daily use goods like AC units, heaters, writing desk equipments and everything. It is a very good platform wherein you can sell your goods very easily to them. So these were the benefits. The benefits were actually very huge when you actually look at things from the perspective of the dealer, of your client. Now, MSME registration in India. Where to register, what documents are required, what would be the fees, how much time would it take? All these things are there. It is officially gazetted, which is available, that also in the handout section, which can be downloaded. The new notification specifies the form and procedure for filing the memorandum and others. Namely, now the earlier in the earlier Udyog Aadhaar registration uh, for MSME registration, what used to go in as that it was not linked anywhere else except you get your the registration certificate and apply at various places. Here, the entire form and the procedure has been stated in the notification. Composite criteria we spoke about 1:5 ratio, calculation of investment in plant machinery equipment, calculation of turnover, registration process for new enterprises, for existing enterprises, updation of information, transition, facilitation and grievance redressal of enterprises. Now, what used to happen is in the earlier arena, the investment criteria, the registration, Udyog Aadhaar registration, when we used to make, it was known as UAM. When the UAM Udyog Aadhaar registration was done, at that point of time, there was no changing of the slab. Okay, if you were small, you got registered under small, it used to remain small in the registration certificate till you don't modify it. Here, in the new scenario, your Udyog, your Udyam registration certificate gets updated. The Udyam registration gets updated automatically year on year basis. Calculation of turnover is done. How would it have the calculation of turnover? The Udyam registration, as of now, they say for Udyam registration, your PAN and GST number is mandatory. GST registration is mandatory. They will pick up the data from the various organizations, that is, say the income tax return, your GST return, and that is how it will calculate your turnover, and then tell you that okay, your turnover is this as a pre-filled format itself. It is a pre-filled format. Similarly, for your investment in plant and machinery, it will pick up the figure from your income tax return and auto-populate it over here. Next year, say your turnover increases. So 1:5, 1 crores of investment, that investment goes up to 1.5 crores. So automatically they would shift you from a micro to a small enterprise. Similarly for turnover as well. Now, unfortunately, the Udyam portal is under maintenance. Otherwise, I could have shown you the website as it is. The website is udyamregistration.gov.in. That is a standard the Udyam website which is available. Now, point your answer to query number 1. Where to register? It is to be registered on udyamregistration.gov.in. If you go on to Udyam registration website, just let me check it in case it is working.
The website is working, Hiral.
Acha, it's working? Great. Because it was under maintenance before some time. Thanks for the update. The Udyam registration website. Per se, this is the website which we are supposed to, is the website seen to everybody? Somebody
Yes,
can
yes,
confirm?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So registration.gov.in is the website which is there, on which the registration should actually be taken. The registration has to be done. Here they are very specific. If you read the instruction, there are no charges for Udyam registration. Government is not taking any charges, nor has it appointed any agents on its behalf for registration. So what is happening, however, there are various websites wherein which are saying ki, ha, registration, and they are charging a token fee for it. They are also redirecting you to the Udyam registration website only. However, they are in the bargain, they are earning some money out of it. So we have to be careful. Udyamregistration.gov.in is the only website. They say it does not have any agents or anything, and it does not take any money from anybody. So that is something which we have to be careful and we have to keep in mind. Now, the registration is in two parts. Basically, they have divided people who were having the Udyog Aadhaar registration earlier. There were people who were having the earlier Udyog Aadhaar registration. So those people have to register over here in the lower column, because again there were two types of registration: entrepreneurs memorandum part 2, EM2 as it was known as, or Udyog Aadhaar memorandum. If you were already there registered, then you can go in here and register yourself. And if not, then if you have never registered as MSME, then you can go in for this new, who are not registered earlier. So here, this is a very simple website, and even the data which is picked up is a very
Hiral, you are muted. You are muted. We can't hear you.
is a very
Yes,
basic
now.
are very basic data which are is it fine now?
Your voice is cracking. Maybe you can switch off your video. That may help.
Am I audible?
Not very clearly, but you can switch off your video. Maybe that will help. Yes. Now you can try.
Okay, am I audible? Okay,
It is.
great. Thank you. So it is uh, it is basically where to register that we looked at. Udyam registration.gov.in is the registration website where we can register. What are the documents which are required? See, there are no documents which are required to be filled in or to be attached. It is plainly uh, on self declaration and nothing else. Fees, no statutory fees are prescribed. How much time for registration? Yes, the time limit as of now, when you submit the application, the Udyam registration is available instantly. The number is available instantly. However, the certificate is taking time due to the government process. They are trying to upgrade it, but this is how the system works. They are working on it really well, but there is one request which we professionals can make to the government is not to make MSME another GST, wherein it takes long and long time. On paper many things are prescribed, but the technical part doesn't work here. Fortunately, as of now, things are working fine. Now, it is what are the basic things that are required to be filled in at the time of registration? Your Aadhaar number. Aadhaar is one of the thing which is absolutely mandatory. There is no option to Aadhaar for the MSME registration, that is Udyam registration. There is no bar that without Aadhaar you won't be able to get the Udyam registration. If your Aadhaar is not linked to the PAN, it is not linked, there are some discrepancies, mobile number is not linked, get it linked, because everything works on the mobile number OTP only. So, and again, GST registration, they have said that it is mandatory. However, there are many queries that in case we are not registered, we are not eligible for, we do not require GST registration. Say turnover is 30 lakh, 35 lakh, and within the state other criteria is taken into account. So then what to do about it? Then is it mandatory? Yes, these are some of the points that government has to come up with a clarification thereof. However, it is basically on self-declaration basis only PAN and GST are made mandatory. There are certain things whose Aadhaar is to be used. For Udyam registration, the Aadhaar would be of the proprietor in case of proprietorship firm, managing partner in case of a partnership firm, Karta in case of an HUF, in case of a company or an LLP or a society, trust, or any organization, the authorized signatory shall provide its GSTN and PAN along with his Aadhaar. One of the technical glitch which is coming over right now, one Aadhaar is only allowing one MSME, only one MSME registration of Udyam. If we are trying to say a person is a proprietor in one firm, partner in another, director in third, a committee member in a trust or a society, then if all these want to get registered, one person can only use it once. So he has to use it in his proprietorship because there is no option in proprietorship. In case of partnership, any other partner can use. So on, so forth. It has to be done that way. So that is one of the glitch which is there as of now. Maybe it will be sorted out in some time to go. We have given so much of time to the GST portal also, so some more time for MSME registration as well. Now, one thing which has been added in Udyam registration as compared to Udyog Aadhaar registration was the self-declaration that there is no intentional misrepresentation or attempt to suppress any facts, and that would mean a penalty, levy of a penalty. Okay? And every year the category would change, realignment would, reclassification would happen every year. Organizers, how much time do I have, or should we go in for question answers?
Yes, Hiral, you can finish in 5 minutes and then we'll go for question answer. We'll not extend beyond 6:45. Yeah, we have
Okay,
15
fine.
minutes.
Just just 5 minutes, nothing else. The another thing which has come up of late is the champions control room. That is what they have taken. So you have any query, you have a dedicated cell which would help you out for any complaints or any problem. Absolutely any complaints, any problem, they would help you out to get out of it. You have to link your PAN and GST to it. Okay. Here, the renewal in Udyog Aadhaar means we are comparing the pre-era and post 1st July 2020 era. So in Udyog Aadhaar, there was no requirement for re-registration. So every time renewal of registration was not required. So now professionals are required because there is a renewal which is there every year. So every year renewal would be there. So that renewal, okay, that would also be free. However, it is a additional role which we professionals can play. Just one second. So then there are various schemes which the MSME ministry, the finance ministry have brought about. However, still there are so many other schemes which various other ministries have also put in. So all these schemes have also to be taken care of. It is just another request, as I said, that not to make Udyam registration as complicated as GST is. Yes, it is pretty simple right now, and such simplicity can be taken ahead as well. That brings me to the end of the presentation and the end of my talk. Now, if there are any queries, we would be happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
Uh, Madam, do you have any hands raised for queries? Madam, you are muted.
Madam, you still seem to be muted. Till that time, there are a couple of questions, Hiral.
Yes,
If I am
Aditya.
allowed, I will start asking. Yeah, I will start with the questions. One first question that I have with regard to this MSMED is that the 45 days limit that has been prescribed, within which the MSME must recover the money, or the money that is due must be paid. Now this at times acts as a hindrance, because there are certain, I have come across certain businesses who do not want to get registered because of this provision, because this saying that our regular credit period is 60 days, and if we compel our customers to pay within 45 days, we may lose business, and we are okay with the 60-day limit. So the question is that whether this interest that is liable to be paid, whether it is mandatory, that it must be paid to the MSME, and what are the other repercussions on the recipient of the goods or services. One thing I know, that they have to report in their income tax audit report. Anything else?
See, for the larger organization, they have to provide the details of uh, amounts outstanding to MSMEs. That is there in the for corporates, the ROC return is also there. However, uh, when we talk about when there is an agreement between the MSME registered supplier and the purchaser, say as in your case, so for 60 days. So if the credit period is mentioned as 60 days, see there is one school of thought which says that even if it is more than 45 days, it is the credit period has to be taken at 45 days only. Say 60 days if it is an agreement between the parties, that credit period of 60 days, and MSME Act says that 45 days. So what people understand is one school of thought says that lower of the two, 45 days has to be taken into account. However, my opinion says that if there is an agreement of 60 days credit period, then that 60 days credit period stands. So then there is no problem in that party saying, ki, okay, 60 days free period is decided between us, so we go by 60 days, not 45 days. So no question of interest. And even if interest is payable, again it depends between the parties. It can be waived off.
It can be waived up. Okay, so it is not
Yes.
mandatory.
No, not mandatory.
Okay. Second question, I have only two questions here. Second question is that how can a service provider, okay, let's take your and my case, any service provider, a chartered accountant, a practitioner, or let's say a supplier of industrial goods, how can such people take the benefit of the government e-marketplace? Is there any benefit to such people for registering on GM, or there is no benefit?
It is when we speak about tax professionals, let's go category wise. For tax professionals, other than chartered accountants or advocates, tax practitioners, GSTPs or STPs, they can get themselves registered under MSME Act. I would say when you issue the invoice to the party, mention your MSME number in that, which brings in your claim that you have informed the opposite party that you are registered under MSMED. Therefore, your invoice has to be cleared within the credit period which you are providing. Say you say pay within 8 days. So within 8 days or 45 days of your service, provision of service.
No,
If there is no agreement.
I think Hiral, what Aditya is trying to say, the question, I think, saying that do service providers also have an option to get
Yes,
access
sir.
to or provide their services on the e-marketplace? Aditya, am I right?
Yes, Parth.
Yes.
On the e-marketplace also we can get ourselves registered. It is possible, it is allowed as per the CA Institute guidelines also. If we register ourselves for Udyam as well as the GEM, the government e-marketplace portal, it is allowed. So we
Oh,
can
that's very good.
also put our services over there.
Okay,
So
but
that is
what you said
absolutely allowed and it is advisable. Yes, sir.
while you were dealing with the subject, you stated that the government e-marketplace is primarily an e-commerce platform for the government departments to procure the services. So in that
Yes.
case, it is only limited to those, if at all the
Yes.
services are required by the government departments, or if any, for
Yes.
that matter, because you were talking about benches or chairs or any such things. So that is why I also included any supplier of industrial goods is. So I have seen the registration procedure. Anybody can tick mark and say that I am willing to register, but I have not
Correct.
seen what happens after that yet. That is why I asked that. Okay, madam, any? Yeah.
Such thing, this the a very similar process to the GEM was always there earlier as well, wherein there were two separate registrations and you register yourself for that e-marketplace and you are getting orders through that government e-marketplace as well. It used to function well even before this 1st July Udyam registration.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Hiral. Sejal madam, any questions?
Madam, we
Tejas,
can't.
you're not
Muted,
able to hear.
Sejal madam, you are muted.
She is not muted actually. She's seen her microphone is unmuted, but for some reason we cannot hear you, madam.
Hiral, can you just check the queries? You are an organizer. You can also check.
Ha, I'll do that. Don't worry. Yeah, processing unit. Hufeza Anjanwala sir has this query. A yarn processing unit who gets its work outsourced, that is, the processing is done outside. Can he register under MSME? See, if it is a processing unit, if you fall under a manufacturing thing, then definitely you can get yourself registered under MSME. If it is not no manufacturing or no service provision, then only trading is out of MSME. Why registration under MSME Act is considered a taboo by the clients. Sujata madam, the good query. It is just ignorance. It is ignorance. What people say is कि as of now we are dealing with so many government departments. इनकम टैक्स वाला भी है, जीएसटी वाला भी है, अभी और एक डिपार्टमेंट को नहीं लाना है, उसके लिए रजिस्टर नहीं कराते. This is the mindset of people which has to go out, because even if there is an additional compliance, but there are so many advantages attached to it that definitely it can work wonders for the registered person.
Any more queries?
It is because the payment MSME. Okay, Sujata madam had that query that it is people are considering as a taboo because the payments have to be made within 45 days. So it is just a different mindset. It is the ignorance which has brought in this thing into it. Yes, MSME number can be mentioned on the sales invoices easily, so that you convey to the opposite party that yes, you are MSME registered. So it is advisable to always mention the MSME registration number on the invoice itself. Santosh Kalaji has this, that if we don't get certificate, where to make a complaint. They are coming up as of now. Only emails can be done. Email communication is possible. However, it is taking time as of now because they are also setting up their mechanisms. Very soon, they want to say that registration would be given to you immediately on application. Immediate registration certificate also would be provided to you, as was the case with Udyog Aadhaar, that we used to get the registration certificate immediately. Even here they say you can get it immediately. MSME Vinit Vinit Duvat ji has the query. MSME only for manufacturer and service, or trading also? Only for manufacturing and service. Hufeza ji, yes, chartered accountants can also register for Udyam registration. Kaustubh Surteji has the query. Some CAs are registering traders with Udyam registration and taking the benefit, as well as collateral free loans and hedging current loans against this, however, is bending of rules. But what is your opinion? See, if somebody, if some consultant is getting is misleading the clients by informing them, okay, you are also eligible, and bending the rules and getting some advantages for them, it is wrong, I would say. If you are falling under the category and then you get yourself registered and then you take the advantages, then it is okay. Even how to bend the rules, you have just registered yourself. It is very simple for the organizations, the government organization, to know as well that you are a manufacturer or service provider or not. Your income tax return says a thing, your GST return says a thing, wherein both say that you are only a trader, and here you register yourself as a manufacturer or service provider, and then you say registration and get the benefits. I feel it is wrong, and here they have added this clause. Earlier there was no such clause that the penalty would be provided. Here, under after 1st July, a penalty has also been prescribed, and that is an undertaking that we are supposed to give, that is the party is supposed to give. So it would be risky to just bend the rules your way and go ahead.
Hiral, the
Yes.
question was that it's actually a very, very nice question, because say if he is talking about hedging of loans. Now, normal financial institutions are used on several occasions. We take do certain investments, and we buy certain products to hedge against certain other investment. So the question is very simple here, that can you take a loan here, avail a loan here, and then hedge it against your present loan, say a house loan or something, if the interest rate is low? And
People are doing it.
what is the illegality in it is something that
See, there is absolutely no illegality to it if you are eligible. See, as a chartered accountant, I take a loan against which is collateral free loan or whatever it is. I take the loan and then invest in some other form of assets. There is nothing wrong in it. Nobody is taking an undertaking from me that this is to be done or that is to be done. So that is not a problem. As a service provider, I am eligible for registration and I'm taking the advantages. However, if I'm a trader buying and selling of goods,
then it is
and
fine.
then I get it done,
No,
then
no.
that is
I think, well, that is another
In
another
that case,
aspect of that question.
your registration itself is fraud, no? So
yes, sir. Yes.
then that is different. Yes.
Otherwise, hedging is not a problem.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
Hiral, there are two
Yeah,
hand raises which are Santosh Gala. Aditya, one second. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
because Sejal madam, sorry, you wanted to add something in relation to this?
Yeah, only that. The same question. Another aspect to that question is hedging is one aspect. Second seems to be that there seems to be a genuine confusion among some practitioners. It may not be that every single time it is done to defraud. See, because when it was advertised, this new scheme was advertised, they had stated that earlier it was only for manufacturers and service providers. Now we are changing the definition. Anybody with an investment in plant of so and so rupees and turnover, that basically means that every single person, including a trader who has an investment in his plant and machinery and turnover up to such and such amount, can register. So there, that part also needs to be clarified, that there seems to be genuine confusion that even traders are eligible to register under MSME.
So Aditya, with that, for now, once again, Hiral, because we are
Uh,
running short of, there are two hand raises which were always there. So let us just take up those
Yeah,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
raise their hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll unmute them.
Mr. Santosh Kala.
Sorry, Aditya.
Santosh Kala. Santosh ji, you are unmuted.
Yes, Santosh, you can speak. Okay, move to Mr. Jadhav.
I don't see him. He's not there anymore. There's Mr. Ambadas Gajul. Mr.
Okay.
Jadhav is back now. Jadhav ji, you can unmute yourself. From our end, you are unmuted. Santosh ji, we can't hear you. You need to increase the volume on your device.
Hello,
Yes, now
hello.
you're audible. Yes.
So my query is simple: whether there are any additional statutory compliances or other controls are applicable in case of MSME registration units.
sir, there is one additional compliance added post 1st July is that every year you will have to upgrade or downgrade your category of registration. That is the only compliance which has been added. And how is it to be done? That in the due course of time, we would come to know that what mechanism they are putting into place. But otherwise, apart from this upgradation or downgradation of the registration category, there is no other compliance which has been provided for.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
No, 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 sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harish ji is also there. He's also unmuted.
Sir, I would like to ask then why it is compulsory to renew it when it is upgraded from GST site, IT site. Why they have made it compulsory to unnecessary to renew it without any just like GST or IT. There is no need of renewal of GST certificate or income tax PAN number. Why not?
Sir, it is what they have stated as of now is that they would upgrade or downgrade it and they would send a mail to the registered person whether the thing is acceptable to you or not. See, these are various mechanisms that they are stating. It is not crystallized. It will be like this only or like that only. But what as of now they have said is we'll send a mail to the concerned enterprise whether we are downgrading you, we are upgrading you, and it will work accordingly. If you are, it is
Hiral, you are
acceptable to
very
you.
Upgrading, sorry. The upgrading or downgrading is a separate thing, and why to renew it every time? In GST we are not renewing, in PAN also, income tax also we are not renewing. Then why this is a useless procedure is inserted?
nothing wrong.
They that precisely they want to stop the fraudulent activities, and apart from that they have just given it as of now, but I don't think so they will have that everything would be automated only, data picked up from here, auto populated. Even as of now, if you are registering, so your turnover, your assets, those are auto populated fields. So those auto-populated fields, you don't have to do anything about it. It is taken from the income tax portal and stuff. So it works accordingly. So I don't think so it
Okay.
will be
Thank you.
a cumbersome process as such.
Hiral, you are indeed
Yes.
very
Thank
courageous to
you.
take up a question which starts with why, especially when it comes to government compliances. You are very courageous. 10 marks to you for that. Why is the answer which I don't think Hiral would have, and except for the lawmakers, no one would have the answer of why. But I appreciate Hiral by throwing his lights. Shall we take any more questions, or shall we conclude on this?
I have one query. Hiral bhai, Aditya
Yes, sir.
said a while back
जी
that
वीडियो ऑन है मुझे
a chartered accountant can register himself on government e-marketplace. So
Yes, sir.
would that term as is promoting himself or advertising himself, because chartered accountants or advocates are not allowed to promote themselves on.
No, it is some form. It is allowed as per the CA Institute guidelines as well. For it is something like a tender. Even tenders are allowed for chartered accountants. We can go in for tenders as per institute disciplinary things as well. So it is kept in. It is on the same footing as tenders. Therefore, it has been made allowed. There is a specific clause for it,
Yeah,
wherein
I
CA
think there are
institute
certain
allows it.
conditions. Only if you follow those conditions, only then certain things are allowed. I think so long as those conditions are satisfied, only then it would be allowed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Do we have any other query?
Yeah, you want one more, Mr. Vora, Jignesh Vora. You can unmute yourself.
Shall we take the last query?
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, my query is related to eligibility related to MSME registration. If my client is a trader, and he has a one registered brand, a brand which is registered,
Okay.
and he manufacture his product from one manufacturer,
Hmm.
and he acted as a trader. Basically, he is acted as a trader. So can he is
Okay.
eligible for MSME because he has a full right of that brand, and manufacturer only manufacture the goods as per his prescription, and nobody he cannot sell to any other customers also, and some restrictions are there. So can such type of traders are eligible for MSME registration?
No. If it is a trader per se, you are not eligible. It is the act is very clear for that.
Okay. Even though he is a heavy.
He is holding any brands, trademarks, or anything, and goods are sold according to that, manufactured according to that. That does not make any difference at all.
Okay. We'll conclude. Aditya.
Yes, yes. We will conclude the session. It was a fantastic session. Uh, uh, Much required break from GST, and some venues have finally opened up for practitioners. I'm sure now we all will rush and check first the list of clients who are manufacturers and service providers, so that we can get them registered. Uh, now I request Joint Convener Aditya Surte to perform a very humble vote.
Thank you, President. Uh, I am very thankful to our own CA Hiral Shah for enlightening all of us with this subject, which is not a subject that we practice regularly. However, given the present circumstances, wherein a lot of our clients are facing certain difficulties, and this is an additional or a complementary area of practice where we can advise our clients to get some benefits which the government may be providing. So, thank you so much, sir, for providing all of us clarity on that subject. I also thank all the participants and the convener of IT committee, Sejal Madam, the president, and all the other office bearers for attending this study circle meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.